The sky changed on a Tuesday morning in April 2047. Massive ships appeared over major cities around the world. They hung there, silent and still, for 3 days. People panicked at first. Some ran. Some prayed. Some watched and waited. On the 4th day, they spoke to us. "We come in peace," they said in perfect English and every other human language at once. "We are the Galactic Council, and we wish to welcome humanity to the greater community of spacefaring peoples." The world leaders gathered in New York City to meet the aliens face to face. Alice Warren stood tall in her blue Space Command uniform. As the captain of Earth's first Mars mission, she was chosen to represent humanity's space efforts. Next to her stood Paul Mitchell, a diplomat with 30 years of experience. His gray hair and calm eyes gave people comfort in these strange times. The ship landed in Central Park. Out came 2 kinds of aliens. The Viridians moved like snakes but stood on small legs. Their green skin shimmered in the sunlight. The luminar looked like walking crystals that changed colors as they moved. Both spoke through small devices that hung around what might be called their necks. "We have watched your kind for many years," said the lead Viridian, who called himself Speaker Zeth. "Your species has great potential. We wish to help you join us among the stars." Paul Mitchell stepped forward. "We thank you for this honor. What does joining the Galactic Council mean for Earth?" The Luminar leader, who called herself Elder Nyx, made a sound like gentle bells. "We will share technology, knowledge, and protection. In return, we ask for friendship and some of your unique resources, a fair exchange between friends." Over the next few weeks, world leaders signed treaties with the Council. Alice Warren was named Earth's official contact with the aliens. She didn't fully trust them, but the chance to learn about space travel was too important to pass up. "They're offering us the stars," President Diane Foster told her critics. "We would be fools to say no." The first year was full of excitement. The Council built centers in major cities where they taught humans about new medicines and energy sources. Sick people got better. Poor areas got power. Most people thought the aliens were wonderful. But Nathan Clark didn't agree. As defense director, he worried about Earth's safety. "They show us toys, but keep the real technology secret," he told Alice during a private meeting. "Why won't they share weapons or faster-than-light travel information? What are they hiding?" Alice shared some of his concerns. The Council aliens were always polite, but never straight with answers about certain topics. They avoided questions about other species who had joined the Council. They changed the subject when asked about planets rich in resources. "Just be patient," Elder Nyx told Alice when she pressed for more information. "Your species is young. Some knowledge must come slowly, or it could harm you." 3 years passed. Earth changed. People lived longer. Energy became cheap, but something felt wrong. Alice noticed the Council taking more than they gave. Their ships carried away loads of minerals, water, and plant samples. When asked about this, they called it scientific research. Paul Mitchell began to see problems in the treaties he had helped create. The wording gave the Council more rights than he had first realized. "I think we need to be careful," he told Alice one night as they watched a Council ship unload strange equipment in Chicago. "I'm starting to believe Director Clark might be right. They're not telling us everything." Alice nodded slowly. "I've been studying their language without the translators. Some words don't match up. When they talk among themselves, they use different terms for us and Earth." "What terms?" Paul asked. Alice's face grew dark. "Terms like temporary and replaceable." 5 years had passed since the aliens first came to Earth. Dr. Olivia Hudson sat in her small office surrounded by recordings of Viridian speech. As Earth's best expert in alien languages, she spent her days studying how the Council members talked among themselves. "Frank, come listen to this," she called to her friend and fellow scientist, Dr. Frank Rodriguez. He walked over from his desk and put on headphones. "I recorded this when they thought no humans were around," she explained. "They were talking about the mining operation on Jupiter's moons." Frank listened carefully. His eyes grew wide. They called Earth a resource well just now. And did they say temporary occupants about us? Olivia nodded. I found this pattern in many recordings. They use one set of words when talking to us and completely different ones when they talk to each other. Miles away in space, Lieutenant Commander Ryan Bennett watched through the window of his ship near Jupiter. His job was to observe and report on Council activities in the outer solar system. What he saw troubled him deeply. 3 large Council ships drilled into the surface of Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. They pulled out rare metals and strange blue crystals. None of this was in the agreements they had signed with Earth. Ryan took pictures and sent a message to his bosses. Council ships extracting unknown materials from Europa without permission. Request instructions. The answer came back quickly. Continue observation only. Do not interfere. Earth government handling through diplomatic channels. Ryan frowned. This was the 4th time he had reported such activities. Each time, he was told to do nothing. Something wasn't right. Back on Earth, strange things were happening. Near the alien cultural centers, people got sick with new illnesses. Dr. Samantha Green traveled from town to town, studying these outbreaks. The pattern is clear, she told her team as they examined data in their mobile lab. The closer people live to Council buildings, the sicker they get. She had tested the air, water, and soil around these centers. All showed tiny changes in their makeup. The changes were small but growing. They're changing our world, she said quietly. Little by little, they're making Earth more like their home planets. In Washington, Alice Warren met secretly with Paul Mitchell and Nathan Clark. They gathered in a small room that had been checked for listening devices. Dr. Hudson's translations confirm what we suspected, Alice said. And look at these reports from Dr. Green about the changes to our environment. Paul looked through the papers, his face growing pale. They never intended to help us join their council as equals. They want our planet, Nathan said flatly. They always did. We're just in their way. But why the show of friendship? Alice asked. Why not just take what they want by force? Nathan pulled out a tablet showing images of council ships. My team has been analyzing their technology. They prefer not to fight if they can avoid it. Taking over slowly causes less damage to the resources they want. And fewer council casualties, Hall added. War is expensive. Tricking us is cheaper. A young aide rushed into the room with an urgent message. Reports were coming in from around the world. More council ships had arrived in orbit, much bigger than before, armed with weapons they had never shown humans. It's happening, Nathan said. They're moving to the next phase, whatever that is. Alice's phone rang. It was Dr. Hudson. Captain Warren, I've decoded more of their language, Olivia said, her voice shaking. They're preparing for something they call population adjustment. It's scheduled to begin tomorrow. Alice looked at her friends, fear in her eyes. I think we've run out of time. The morning sky filled with alien ships, not dozens like before, but hundreds. They hovered over every major city on Earth. People stared up in fear and wonder. At exactly noon, every screen on Earth, phones, computers, TVs, showed the same image. Speaker Zeth of the Viridians looked out at humanity. People of Earth, he said in that smooth voice that once seemed friendly, the Galactic Council has made an important decision about your world. Alice Warren watched from the Emergency Command Center beneath the Pentagon. Around her stood Paul Mitchell, Nathan Clark, and other world leaders. No one spoke. No one moved. Earth has been officially classified as a Type 3 resource world, Zeth continued. It contains materials vital to Council needs. According to laws established 10,000 years ago, indigenous sentient species must be relocated to preservation habitats. Paul leaned forward. Preservation habitats. What does that mean? As if hearing the question, Zeth explained. We have prepared living spaces for humans on a moon orbiting a gas giant in the Proxima Centauri system. Transport will begin immediately. All humans will be moved within 1 Earth year. President Laura Martinez stood up. They want to take us from our home planet. They can't do that. We must respond, Nathan said. The world needs to hear from its leaders. The president nodded and stepped toward the communication system. In minutes, her face replaced Zeth's on screens worldwide. Citizens of Earth, she began, we reject the Council's claim to our world. Earth belongs to humanity. We will not be moved. The response came quickly. In cities across the globe, Council ships fired strange beams at military bases. Missiles launched at the alien ships exploded harmlessly before reaching them. Tanks stopped working. Fighter jets fell from the sky. They've disabled our weapons, Nathan said, reading reports flooding in. The tech they gave us over the years, it had hidden backdoors. They can shut down our systems remotely. Alice's phone rang. It was Dr. Hudson again. Captain Warren, I've translated more, Olivia said urgently. The preservation habitat isn't what they claim. Previous species they've relocated, they don't survive long there. The conditions are barely livable. In New York, Viridian troops landed on the streets. They carried devices that paralyzed humans with a flash of light. In London, Paris, Beijing, and other cities, the same scene played out. Council forces taking control with technology far beyond human weapons. Back in the command center, President Martinez made a difficult choice. Send the surrender message, she told her communications officer. Tell them we accept their terms. Madam President, Nathan objected. We can't give up. It's not surrender, she said quietly so only those closest could hear. It's a tactic. We need time. She turned to Nathan. Is Operation Scorched Earth ready? Nathan's eyes widened. Operation Scorched Earth was their absolute last resort plan. A desperate strategy they had developed in secret, hoping they would never need it. Parts of it, he replied. We need more time to finish the preparations. Then I'll buy us that time, the president said. She faced the others. As far as the world and the council know, we are cooperating with the relocation. Meanwhile, we fight in secret. Later that day, Speaker Zeth and Elder Nix stood in the White House Rose Garden with President Martinez. The world watched as she signed papers giving the council control of Earth. A wise decision, Zeth said for all to hear. Your people will be safe and cared for. But as cameras zoomed in on the signing, few noticed the small hand signal the president made, a sign that meant something very specific to certain military commanders watching. The signal meant, execute Scorched Earth. That night, as the first human volunteers boarded transport ships for relocation, other humans slipped away to hidden places, underground bases, remote mountain hideouts, secret facilities deep beneath the ocean. The fight for Earth had only just begun. 6 months passed. On the surface, Earth seemed defeated. Council ships came and went freely. Millions of humans had been taken to the so-called preservation habitat. Those who remained worked under alien supervision, mining resources, or serving as workers in council facilities. But beneath this picture of surrender, hope lived in the shadows. Deep in the Appalachian Mountains, Will Carter checked his weapons. Once a Special Forces soldier, he now led one of the largest resistance groups in North America. His hideout, built inside an old mine, housed 300 fighters and their families. Any news from the West Coast team? He asked his communications officer. They hit a council supply depot last night, she replied. Got away clean with food and medicine. No losses. Will nodded. Small victories, but they added up. His radio crackled with a secure signal. Eagle's Nest to Mountain Home. Package arriving in 30 minutes. Will smiled. She made it. The package was Dr. Olivia Hudson. After months working undercover in a council research center, she had escaped with valuable information. 3 hours later, she sat with Will and his team leaders around a makeshift table. I figured out how their communication systems work, Olivia explained, drawing diagrams. They use quantum frequencies that we didn't know existed. But I've built this device that can scramble their signals. She placed a small box on the table. It hummed quietly. Turn this on, and their ships can't talk to each other for about 10 minutes. Not long, but maybe enough to make a difference in a fight. Across the ocean in a hidden lab beneath the ruins of Barcelona, Sofia Garcia made her own breakthrough. A brilliant engineer, she had spent months studying the damaged Council weapon found after a crash. Look at this, she told her team, pointing to the strange metal barrel. Their shields only block energy moving at certain speeds. If we can fire projectiles that move faster or slower than they expect, we can get through. Sofia held up a new gun her team had built. It looked rough but deadly. We've tested it. Works perfectly. Time to make hundreds more. Meanwhile, on the dark side of the moon, an even larger secret took shape. Before the invasion, Earth had built a small moon base for scientific research. The Council thought it had been abandoned during the attack. They were wrong. Commander Eric Sullivan looked out at the stars from the hidden lunar facility. Behind him, construction continued on 6 small but powerful ships. They used stolen Council engine parts combined with human ingenuity. How soon? He asked the chief engineer. 2 more weeks. Maybe less with the help we're getting. The help was surprising. Not all Council aliens supported what their leaders were doing to Earth. A small group of luminar had secretly contacted the human resistance. They believed the treatment of Earth violated ancient principles their people once held sacred. One such luminar, who called himself Spark, now worked alongside humans in the lunar base. Your design has improved, Spark told Sullivan, his crystal body glowing softly in the dim light. But the power coupling needs adjustment. Back on Earth, those taken to the preservation habitat learned the harsh truth Dr. Hudson had warned about. The moon where they were kept orbited a gas giant much larger than Jupiter. Its gravity hurt human bones. Its thin air made breathing difficult. The shelters leaked radiation. But even there, in that terrible place, resistance grew. Dr. Samantha Green, among those relocated, secretly treated the sick and documented Council crimes. She kept hidden records of everything she saw, determined that someday the galaxy would know the truth. In Washington, D.C., now a Council administrative center, Alice Warren was believed to have been executed for speaking against the aliens. In truth, she worked deep undercover, posing as a human collaborator while passing information to resistance cells. 6 months of occupation had taught humanity an important lesson. The Council had technology, but humans had something they lacked: determination born from fighting for their home. The Council never found Antarctica Base 1. Before first contact, world leaders had agreed to hide humanity's most advanced research from alien visitors. The frozen continent housed Project Prometheus, a secret program studying weapons too dangerous for public knowledge. Dr. Julia Wright watched ice crystals form on her window as she worked. Outside, endless white plains hid the true size of the underground facility. Inside, 300 scientists and engineers worked on humanity's last hope. "Show me the test results," Julia said to her assistant. A screen lit up showing a metal ball dissolving into nothing. "The quantum destabilizer works," her assistant explained. "It breaks the bonds between atoms. Nothing the Council has can stop it." Julia nodded. "And the power source?" "We modified the energy system they gave us years ago. They never knew we understood how it really worked." Meanwhile, hidden in plain sight throughout the solar system, other secret projects continued. Before the invasion, humans had placed automated mining stations on Mars, in the asteroid belt, and on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. These stations were designed to gather resources for Earth's expansion into space. The Council knew about these stations but thought they had shut them down. They were wrong. Special AI systems kept the stations running, following emergency protocols activated by Nathan Clark on Invasion Day. Now these stations secretly built weapons and ships designed by resistance engineers. Small unmanned craft carried parts to the moon base where Commander Sullivan's team assembled them. All this happened while Council ships passed nearby, unaware. On Earth, the resistance grew stronger. Will Carter's team now controlled most of the mountains in the eastern United States. Sofia Garcia's fighters had retaken parts of southern Europe. Similar groups operated in the Andes, the Himalayas, and other remote regions. The Council responded with harsher measures. They destroyed small towns when resistance fighters were suspected of hiding there. They took more humans to the preservation habitat as punishment. They did not understand that these actions only made humans fight harder. Alice Warren, still working undercover, attended a council meeting in the captured United Nations building. She wore the special badge of human helpers, hiding her true loyalty. The humans continue to resist. Speaker Zeth complained to the gathered aliens. We do not understand. Their weapons are primitive. Their technology is basic. They should accept our rule. Elder Nix's crystal body flashed with colors. Perhaps we should have studied their history more carefully. They have always fought among themselves over territory. Now they fight us the same way. Alice kept her face neutral while taking notes for her alien bosses. Inside, she felt a small spark of hope. The council was worried. Their plan was not working as expected. Later that night, she sent a coded message to resistance leaders. Council confused by continued resistance. Their supplies running low. Keep fighting. In orbit around Earth, the Council's main command ship received troubling news from their homeworld. Other species they had conquered were watching the human resistance closely. Some were starting to question Council rule. Resources normally sent to Earth were needed elsewhere to maintain control. We must end this quickly, Zeth told his commanders. Prepare for final measures. We will take what we need from Earth and leave the planet uninhabitable for the remaining humans. The commander bowed. It will be done. The special weapons are ready. What the Council didn't know was that one of their commanders secretly supported the Luminar rebels who helped humans. He immediately sent a warning to Spark on the moonbase. Spark brought the message to Commander Sullivan. They plan to use planet-killer weapons in 3 days. They will destroy your atmosphere and oceans after taking final resource loads. Sullivan's face hardened. Then we move now. Tell all resistance groups. Operation Scorched Earth begins in 24 hours. The time for hiding was over. Humanity would strike back with everything they had. Operation Scorched Earth began at dawn. All across the planet, hidden resistance fighters emerged from mountains, forests, and underground bunkers. What looked like a disorganized mob to Council observers was actually a carefully planned attack. Will Carter led 500 fighters toward a Council base in the former city of Atlanta. They seemed to run straight into enemy fire, taking heavy losses. Keep going. Will shouted as explosions rocked the ground around them. Just a few more minutes. The Council commanders laughed at what they saw as human stupidity. Their advanced weapons cut down the first wave of attackers. They did not notice the small team that broke away from the main group, carrying Dr. Hudson's signal scrambler. At exactly 7:00 a.m., resistance groups worldwide activated their scramblers. Council communication systems went silent. Confusion spread through alien ranks as they could no longer coordinate their defenses. In Barcelona, Sofia Garcia's team struck next. They fired their modified weapons at Council ships. The special bullets passed right through alien shields, something the Council had believed impossible. Ships began falling from the sky across Europe, Asia, and the Americas. They never expected us to understand their shield technology, Sofia said as she watched a Council transport crash into an empty field. They always underestimated human intelligence. In orbit, Commander Sullivan gave the order. 6 small but powerful ships emerged from the dark side of the moon. They looked crude compared to Council vessels, but inside they held technology that combined stolen alien science with human creativity. Attack Pattern Alpha, Sullivan ordered. Target their command ships first. The lunar fleet tore into the surprised Council armada. The aliens had no idea humans had built ships capable of space combat. Their confusion turned to panic as Sullivan's vessels destroyed 3 major Council ships in the first few minutes. But the true shock came from Antarctica. Dr. Wright activated the quantum destabilization grid. hidden beneath the ice for years. Massive energy beams shot upward from the frozen continent, striking the largest council ships. The beams didn't just damage the ships, they unraveled them at the molecular level, turning solid metal into clouds of loose atoms. "The system is working perfectly," Julia told President Martinez over a secure line. "Their flagship is completely gone." On the ground, Council forces found their advanced weapons malfunctioning. Dr. Hudson's team had discovered the specific frequencies that interfered with Council technology. Every radio station still under human control broadcast these frequencies, creating a blanket of disruption over major cities. Human soldiers, using Sophia's enhanced weapons, engaged the aliens in close combat. The Council species, used to fighting with technology rather than physical strength, discovered another human advantage. Earth's gravity was stronger than their homeworlds. Humans were tougher, faster, and more used to physical hardship. In Washington, D.C., Alice Warren dropped her cover as a collaborator. She led a team into the Council's main Earth headquarters, formerly the Pentagon. Using access codes she had secretly gathered over months, she opened secure areas and downloaded critical information about Council operations throughout the galaxy. "Send this to all resistance cells," she told her communications expert, "and broadcast it to any alien ships still in orbit. Let them see what their leaders have been doing." The Council had expected an easy victory when they betrayed Earth. They thought their superior technology would ensure human compliance. They never considered that humans would adapt so quickly, learn so much from limited exposure to alien tech, or fight so fiercely for their home. By sunset on the first day, humans had retaken major cities across North America and Europe. Council forces retreated to fortified positions, calling desperately for reinforcements from their homeworlds, but help would not come quickly. The distance was vast, and news of Earth's resistance had spread to other conquered worlds, causing problems throughout Council space. Speaker Zeth, hiding in a bunker beneath New York City, could not believe the reports. "How is this possible?" he asked his remaining officers. "They are primitive. They are supposed to be easy to control." A wounded Viridian commander hissed in pain. "We were wrong about them. Very wrong." News of Earth's resistance spread quickly through Council space. The stories traveled from planet to planet, from species to species. The humans were fighting back and winning. On the Council homeworld, Captain Alice Warren sat in a prison cell. She had been captured months ago after protesting against Earth's treatment. The Viridian guards thought she was broken in spirit. They were wrong. A soft blue light appeared outside her cell. A luminar stood there, its crystal body dimmed to avoid attention. "I am Prism," the luminar whispered. "I belong to the Truth Seekers. We oppose the Council's treatment of other worlds." Alice stood up slowly. "Why help me now?" "Earth's rebellion gives us hope," Prism replied while unlocking the cell. "Many doubt the Council's leadership now. Come, we must hurry." They moved through dark hallways to a hidden room. Inside was the Council's main communication hub. Prism's crystal fingers worked quickly at the controls. "This system reaches every Council world," Prism explained. "We can show everyone the truth." Alice pulled a small data drive from her boot. She had kept it hidden from her captors through many searches. "This contains proof of Council lies," she said. "Records of what they did to Earth and other worlds before us. Evidence of corruption at the highest levels." They uploaded the files. Within hours, the information reached planets across the galaxy. Questions turned to anger. Anger turned to action. Other species who had suffered under Council rule began their own uprisings. Meanwhile, Director Nathan Clark led a daring mission to the preservation habitat where millions of humans had been taken. His team used a captured Council ship, pretending to bring more human prisoners. "Their security is lighter than expected," Nathan told his soldiers as they approached the facility. "The Council is stretched thin fighting on multiple fronts." The liberation was swift. The few guards surrendered quickly when faced with humans using advanced weapons. Nathan found Dr. Samantha Green treating sick people in a makeshift hospital. "You came," Samantha said, her eyes filling with tears. "We never abandoned you," Nathan replied. "Now we're taking everyone home." But they did not return to Earth immediately. Nathan had a different plan. The preservation habitat had been built with weapon systems to prevent escapes. Now those same weapons were turned outward, aimed at Council supply lines. The former prison became a forward base for attacking enemy ships. On Earth, the tide had fully turned. President Martinez emerged from hiding to lead the united human forces. Town by town, city by city, humans reclaimed their world. The Council did not understand what they were dealing with. The President told her War Council, they thought technology alone determines victory. They forgot about courage, creativity, and the will to survive. In space, the battle continued. Commander Sullivan's lunar fleet had grown. Automated factories in the asteroid belt sent new ships daily. The Council Armada, cut off from reinforcements, fought desperately but lost ground every day. Dr. Rodriguez, working with the data Alice had sent from the Council homeworld, made a shocking discovery. He called an emergency meeting with President Martinez and other leaders. "The Council has been lying to everyone, even their own people," he explained, showing documents on a large screen. Only a small group of leaders knew the truth about Earth and other resource worlds. Most Council citizens were told these were uninhabited planets being developed for the good of all. "So their own people didn't know what was happening?" Martins asked. "No, and now that Alice has exposed the truth, civil war has broken out in Council space. Their people are turning against their leaders." The war had spread beyond Earth. What began as humanity fighting for survival had become a galaxy-wide revolution against Council corruption. Species that had been conquered or threatened by the Council now looked to humans as leaders of the resistance. Speaker Zeth, now on the run from both humans and his own people, sent a desperate message to Earth. "We offer complete surrender. Please stop the fighting." President Martinez read the message to her advisors. "What do we do now?" someone asked. Alice Warren, recently returned from the Council homeworld, stepped forward. "We don't just want survival. We want justice for Earth and every world they've harmed." 1 year after Earth's counterattack began, the old Galactic Council no longer existed. In its place, a new alliance formed, one built on respect rather than fear. Representatives from 53 worlds gathered on Unity Station, a massive structure orbiting Earth. They came to sign the Galactic Charter of Rights. Admiral Alice Warren, now commander of Earth's defense fleet, looked out at the gathered aliens. Once enemies, many were now allies. The Luminar truth seekers had helped overthrow their corrupt leaders. Even some Viridians had joined the revolution after learning how their leaders had lied. President Martinez stepped up to the speaking platform. Human and alien journalists broadcast her words to worlds across the galaxy. "Today marks a new beginning," she said, "not just for Earth, but for all people who value freedom. The old Council tried to take our world from us. They saw us as primitive beings they could easily control. They were wrong." The crowd applauded. Among them stood Will Carter and Sofia Garcia, honored as war heroes. Dr. Hudson and Dr. Rodriguez sat nearby, recognized for their critical discoveries. Commander Sullivan, now General Sullivan, represented Earth's growing space fleet. "We do not seek revenge," the President continued. "We seek justice and peace. This new alliance will protect the rights of all worlds, regardless of their technology level or military strength. No species will ever again face what Earth endured." The first to sign the charter was Prism, now leader of the reformed Luminar government. Next came representatives from worlds that had suffered under Council rule. Last was Speaker Leth, son of the former Viridian leader Zeth, who had promised to make amends for his father's crimes. After the ceremony, Alice walked with Dr. Wright through the station's main garden. Plants from dozens of worlds grew together in a symbol of unity. "Did you ever think we would end up here?" Julia asked. "When the invasion started, I thought we were finished." Alice smiled. "Humans are harder to defeat than they expected. We adapt. We improvise. We overcome." On Earth, rebuilding continued. Cities damaged in the fighting rose again. The technology gained from council ships helped solve old problems like climate change and energy shortages. Medical advances from the lunar healed illnesses that once seemed incurable. Director Clark, now leading Earth's new Security Council, oversaw the integration of alien technology into human defense systems. "Never again," he often said. "We will never be caught unprepared again." The humans from the preservation habitat had all returned home. Dr. Green led a team studying the long-term effects of their time in that harsh place. She worked to heal both bodies and minds. "We survived," she told her patients. "Now we thrive." In schools across Earth, children learned about the war. They studied how regular people became heroes when needed. They learned that technology without wisdom is dangerous, and that cooperation can overcome even the greatest challenges. 5 years after the war ended, a memorial was built on the moon's surface. It bore the names of those lost in the conflict. Beneath the names, simple words were carved in stone. "Underestimate us at your peril." The phrase became humanity's unofficial motto among the stars. As Earth ships began exploring beyond the solar system, alien species who encountered humans remembered the lesson the Council learned too late. On a distant world, a young Viridian asked her teacher, "Why do all species respect humans so much?" "Their world is small. Their lives are short." The teacher's scales shimmered as she answered, "Because they teach us an important truth. It is not technology or long life that makes a species great. It is courage, creativity, and the willingness to stand together against impossible odds." The child considered this. Will humans ever try to rule others as the old council did? No, the teacher said. They'd fight fiercely for freedom, both their own and others. That is why they now lead our alliance. Not through conquest, but through example. In Earth orbit, a council museum ship held artifacts from the war. Its most visited exhibit showed a simple Earth flag next to the surrender document. The exhibit's title read, "The Day Everything Changed." And indeed, it had. The galaxy would never be the same again.